Okay, now we're joined by CEO of the Central Queensland NRL expansion bid in Denis Keeffe. Dennis, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
That's a pleasure. Now, we obviously heard from JT there just then. Of course, you were the former CEO of North Queensland when they made the grand final back in 2005. Do you sense a similar parallel this year?
I think this is a very, very good Cowboys team. I'm excited by what they can do this year. I think they've got their playmakers in the middle are going great. They've got some really good strike weapons out wide, good finishes. But I think I'm very, very impressed with the way their front row has gone. I think Scotty and Big Jimmy are probably the best in the league right now.
Let's talk about your current job, though, Dennis, and that is as boss of the Central Queensland expansion bid. Now, you're in Sydney today to meet with Shane Matiski. What are you hoping to achieve from that meeting?
Look, we knew that the media rights negotiations would be based on the current configuration of the NRL, which is the 16 teams. We knew that. We knew that expansion would be addressed by the NRL when they released their strategic plan. So we're talking to Shane today about where we fit into that strategic plan, what might be their vision for expansion on that, and we have a compelling case. You know, we are the heartland, and we have a very, very viable proposition to put to the NRL.
There was a perception when the NRL TV deal was announced, last week or maybe a fortnight ago, that in fact expansion was put on the back burner. You guys don't seem to think that was the case, do you? No,
we don't. That's been the commentary today. We think the expansion will be addressed in the strategic planning, and we have a compelling case based on what John Grant has told us about viability, sustainability, and also protecting our heartland. You know, we are Heartland Rugby League. We got over 700,000 people with an avidity to rugby league which is unmatched in the world, and a strategic plan with a business plan being already scrutinised by PricewaterhouseCoopers. We think we have a no-risk solution for the NRL.
This is the key to what I guess all the expansion bids need to know. Will the NRL, if it does expand, go the way of looking after heartlands or going into, I guess, non-traditional rugby league places such as Western Australia? If you got an indication, say, today that the NRL was going to go down the route of the non-rugby league heartlands, would you withdraw your bid?
No, look, we've got heartland, I think, is paramount with the NRL right now to shoring up that heartland. We also offer some options, the 17th team or one of the two expansion teams. You know, we're Heartland Rugby League, but we're being under relentless attack from the AFL, and I think that the NRL have to have that in their strategies. What are we going to do down the future? You know, we have a massive catchment area which is just totally focused on rugby league, and it's time that the NRL, I think, started to shore up those rather than experiment with new territory.
Where's your timeline on this, Dennis? Where do you think you'll get to the point you think, well, you know, stuff this, it's not going to work? Well, you know, it seems like we're talking to brick walls here. When do you think you're going to reach a point, potentially, where you're going to go, OK, we're done with this?
We have the commitment, we have the vision and the commitment. That's not going to happen. We will continue on until NRL is fully functional in Central Queensland. We have the government from Queensland promised a world-class facility. We need 2 years to 3 years to get that out of the ground. So we're looking at now probably 2016 would suit us just fine.
David Gallop made the trip to Central Queensland to check out your bid and was pretty impressed by what he saw. Now, when David Gallop moved aside earlier this year, did that dishearten you? I mean, where do you think you got the best chance? Do you think you had it under Gallop or under this new regime?
You know, I respected Dave Gallop and I think he's a good bloke. But we weren't just talking to Dave Gallop. We were talking to a lot of the executives in the NRL, including Shane Matiski. And also we've had good communication with the Independent Commission. So our relationships are very, very strong with the NRL and also with the Commission.
Where do you think your strongest bid, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Where do you think your strongest bid partners, or I guess competitors, that's the word I'm looking for. I had a complete mental blank then.
You can pay me back later.
Your competitors, are you talking when we're talking about the other Queensland bid or potentially Perth? Who do you think is the toughest?
You know, I'm not being disrespectful to those two organisations, but we know that with 3 teams in Queensland, the NRL can't really fulfil its destination to go with those 3 teams. So it's our brief to become the best option for expansion into Queensland. Who joins that, whether it be Perth or the Central Coast or Wellington or New Guinea, is relevant as far as we're concerned. We have mounted a compelling case to be the no-risk solution for the NRL in our heartland. So we're obvious in Queensland. What comes second, third or fourth is not really important to me.
On face value, I look at that Central Coast bid and I see northern Sydney, and they were able to encapsulate the Central Coast as well as the northern part of Sydney, a huge, I guess, base of a huge economy. Yeah. When you look at Queensland, not quite as big an economy as New South Wales yet, and you've got the teams in Brisbane and the Gold Coast and Townsville. Could it really support, is there corporate support really enough there to support a Central Queensland bid, considering those other cities?
You know, the corporate support is our strength. We have engagement from the resource companies, and these big resource companies are worldwide, and that they haven't ever engaged our sport on a national basis. They're committed to making this NRL a reality in Central Queensland. We have provided a business plan to the NRL, and they wanted to make sure that was bulletproof. This is the resource companies. They gave us the resources, shouted us the money to take that financial model to PricewaterhouseCoopers. They've stress tested that and said very achievable, as a matter of fact quite conservative. So what we bring to the NRL is we introduce some of those massive big resource companies to the NRL for the very, very first time. It underlines our viability.
Well, Denis, you're obviously very, very passionate about this. We wish you luck in trying to get your new franchise into the NRL, and good luck in Sydney with all your discussions.
Pleasure, and thank you very much for having me this afternoon. I appreciate it.